Hello, and thank you for joining us on Nationwide on the network service of the NTA. I am Ogwa Vivian Unyedibia. We start Nationwide this Wednesday with the legislature, where the Senate has advised the federal government to declare emergency on unemployment in Nigeria. Well, this followed a motion by Senator Chukwuka Utazi, which highlighted the huge gap between the haves and have-not, which appears to be responsible for deviant behavior in parts of the country. Ignatius Unko tells us more.
Well, more than 11 senators spent close to 2 hours debating this motion, as senators highlighted some of the experiences and some of the sordid pictures of some Nigerians who actually are unemployed. And then there are a lot of recommendations and contributions. And then basically the motion also called for an increase in the percentage of funds for the education sector. In fact, the motion calls for 26% of annual budget to be injected into the education sector, as well as urging the federal government to locate factories in each local government in Nigeria to be able to create more employment opportunities. Yes, with us here is a Deputy Minority Leader, Emmanuel Boacha. Senator, we've had several of these kind of bills here in the Senate. What do you think will make this one different?
Well, this will be different because it captures succinctly the mood of the nation. We are not ruling out criminality, but a larger segment of this security challenge is born out of the common experience that unemployment has generated in this nation. Yes.
Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much.
All right. We still have another senator, Senator Jibrin Barau.
To me, I think what needs to be done is to create the enabling environment for the agricultural sector to thrive, for the industrial sector, the risk sector to also thrive, so that employment can be generated and the youth will be employed.
Yeah. Very much. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Well, some of the senators also called for the establishment of unemployment trust fund.
And still in the Senate, the Senate Committee of Banking has screened the governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Godwin Emefiele, for a second term of 5 years in office. After listening to the various steps the Central Bank of Nigeria has taken as interventions to stabilize Nigeria's macroeconomy, members on the committee congratulated the governor but tasked him and his team to keep up the tempo for better economic outcomes for Nigeria in the future.
We have representation of the whole regions. And it's always very, very difficult to get that. My even senior colleague can attest to that, what this is like. So I see that as a very, very overwhelming problem. I wish you well. I pray for you, for God to continue to guide you.
I advise you to learn to hurt your friends than to do things that are wrong. That will preserve you, preserve your dignity for your children, your grandchildren, and generations to come.
Governor of the CBN, responding to the committee, admitted that there is more to be done to move Nigeria forward in terms of monetary policy. He, however, appealed to Nigerians to respect policies and laws of the country. He also cleared the air on public assumption about Nigeria having multiple exchange rates, stating that there are only multiple windows with the same exchange rates.
In exchange rates. Substantially today, our rates have converged around 360 naira to the dollar. because the investors and exporters window, which is the dominant market for procurement of foreign exchange today, hovers around that rate. But what you will find, and understandably so, is multiple windows.
Emefiele, who takes pride in the achievements of the apex banks through interventions in agriculture and manufacturing, gave credit to President Muhammadu Buhari, who leads and initiates the processes. In the meantime, the House of Representatives has passed a bill amending the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission Act. The amendment seeks to ensure quick recovery procedures for stolen assets, make the Commission more independent and effective in terms of enforcement, and to enable it improve cooperation with foreign counterparts. Tuesday's plenary also considered and adopted the report of the Committee on Pensions on a bill to establish the Defense Intelligence Agency Pensions Board to handle pension matters for civilian personnel of the agency. Meanwhile, 3 reports were presented to the House, including the report from Committee on Agricultural Production and Services on a bill for an act to prohibit the killing and exportation of donkeys out of Nigeria. And still staying with the National Assembly, the Joint House Committee investigating allegations of breach of Public Procurement Act 2007 by the National Pension Commission has cleared the former Director General of the Commission, Chinelo Anowu Amazu, and other key stakeholders to the matter to appear before it on Thursday, May 16, 2019. Well, this is to clear grey areas in the allegations of mismanagement and lack of due process in the operation of the Commission. National Assembly correspondent Omotola Omojola reports.
Following a motion adopted by the House in 2018 alleging recklessness in the spending activities and procurement processes of the National Pension Commission running to billions of naira between the periods of October 2014 to March 2017, the Joint Committees of Public Procurement and Pension engaged both the Commission and its vendors, querying legality, due process and conformity with the Public Procurement Act.
During the period under consideration, you have a procurement planning committee.
Normally, the Commission uses its budget as a guide or to use as a planning.
There are rules as to means ways of engaging a contractor or a service provider. But I think these questions are better asked to PENCOM because they engage us and we have a contract. If they have done the needful, advertise, you bid, there is opening of the bidding, then you will have been received, your service will have been secure under due process.
The committee also queried the authority of the Commission to have deposited at the time the sum of 1 billion naira of public fund into ASO savings and loans. After interrogating all stakeholders present without a clear headway, the committee submitted that the former Director General of the Commission, who was party to all the procurement contracts, ASO savings and loans and other relevant persons to the investigation appear before it Thursday, May 16, 2019 for clarification. From the National Assembly, Omotola Omojola, NTA News.
Well, the last may not have been heard by the decision by the Nigerian Financial Intelligence Unit on the direct payment of local government allocation come June 1st, 2019. Guests on Tuesday Live were divergent in their views, referring to the Constitution on financial autonomy vis-a-vis the capability of local government administrators to effectively handle their own affairs. Doyin Dia tells us more.
Lack of adequate infrastructure in terms of road, potable water, education, youth empowerment and primary health care, amongst others, all of which as a result of inadequate funding by state governments, were some of the factors which necessitated the clamor for local government autonomy in Nigeria, with the recent directive by the Nigerian Financial Intelligence Unit for allocation to be paid directly into local government accounts. Guests on Tuesday Live differ in their submissions. The view that whether or not such pronouncement is in consonance with the relevant sections of the Constitution and the extent to which local government administrators are prepared for the task were raised.
Nigerians are yearning for a functional local government system. Local governments that will have some degree of independence to operate as a tier of government, because that is the government that is closer to them. How can you just wake up over a night as agency and say put guidelines? All right. You must go and do sensitization, advocacy, talk to the National Assembly, talk to governors. This is what we're looking for. No, not in this system.
The way to solve this problem is to strengthen constitutional institutions that are given the power, granted the power to manage properly.
Whichever way we want to look at it, whatever the law is saying, if the law is not working as far as some of the issues we are talking about is concerned, let's put our heads together and make it work. So every little help, I believe, to make this country better, I think should be welcomed.
And with the expectation that such decision by the Nigerian Financial Intelligence Unit will serve the interests of the public, the extent to which the local government is positioned for this new financial independence is a task many Nigerians are looking forward to. In Abuja, doing NTA News.
And to security matters now, the Air Task Force of Operation Diramikia, together with troops of the recently established 217 NAF Detachment, Birnin Gwari, have facilitated the release of 15 kidnapped victims in the area. According to a press release signed by NAF Director Public Relations and Information, Air Commodore Ibikunle Daramola, the airstrikes were conducted following intelligence reports indicating that armed bandits were camped within the Kamuku forest area, crossing Briningwari local government area of Kaduna State and Sabuwa local government of Katsina State. 12 bandits were neutralized in the operations, leading the kidnapped victims to escape to various locations within Briningwari. And men of the 6th Division Nigerian Army Port Harcourt have handed over 3 kidnapped suspects to the Special Anti-Robbery Squad unit of the Nigerian Police for further investigation and prosecution. Osinachi Abraham reports that a female victim was rescued during the encounter with the suspects.
The suspects, Uche Ibieri, 21, Chile Wolo, 36, and Destiny Kemka, 21, were allegedly linked to recent kidnapping, armed robbery, and court-related violence in Emoha axis of the East-West Road. The suspects, who are all indigenous of Emoha local government area, confessed to the kidnap of a young mother of 1 in her room at Rumekini.
We have 6 in number. They have all escaped.
So which group do you belong to?
We are in Iceland.
The survivor, named withheld while narrating her ordeal in captivity, said the suspects collected her ATM and withdrew 118,000 naira, demanded a ransom of 3 million naira minimum, in addition to her salary that was transferred to their account before she managed to escape.
Later on in that afternoon, I stood there, I laid there, I cried. Even if I had shouted, I wouldn't have received help because it was indeed a bush. I didn't know where we were.
We had put modalities in place to post people and trying our best to see that we capture. You see the way we manage our men, accosted them and bring them to book.
In Port Harcourt, Osinachi Abraham, NTA News.
And a new consulate building for the United States in Lagos. Let's join Ruth for details of this and other reports from our Lagos Network Center. Hello, Ruth.
Hello, Ogwa. Thank you and welcome to Lagos. United States government has reiterated its commitment to further enhance and strengthen its relationship with Nigeria. Consul General John Bray disclosed this at the signing of agreement for a site acquired for a new consulate building in Lagos. Paul Omukagu has details.
That was the signing of agreement for the construction of a new consulate building at Echo Atlantic City, Lagos. The choice site, Consul General explained, is due to its world-class infrastructure. He further added that this will provide opportunities for economic growth and development in Lagos.
Basically, what we have is we have an aging facility. It was constructed in the 1970s. The requirements for the type of building that we need today in 2019 have changed a lot over the last 50 years. So we actually need a larger plot of land. We need to make it better for the people, more accessible for the people coming to visit, for visas and business.
It's a city in the making. You see, if you see, take VI in 1966, 67, there were nothing there. U.S. consul has the confidence to come to Eco Atlantic. It's a very major milestone in the history of the city.
The new site, acquired on a 200-year lease, is seen as a signal for the U.S. commitment to Nigeria and our citizens. In Lagos, Paul Omukago, NTA News.
The Lagos State Command of the Nigerian Prison Service has restated its commitment to safe custody, reformation, and welfare of prisoners in its prisons. The Controller of Prisons, Lagos State Command, made the assertion during the flag-off of a 500-capacity hostel in Kirikiri medium security prisons. Nosa Osla reports.
Prison congestion or overcrowding is generally regarded as a social phenomenon occurring when the demand for prisons jurisdiction outweighs the capacity for prisoners in a given country. It arises where the number of inmates at a given period of time exceeds the actual capacity originally meant for that prison. The Comptroller of Prisons, Lagos State Command, Aliwan Noel, assured Nigerians that the federal government is doing everything within its power to improve the welfare of inmates as well as ensure their reformation for reintegration into the society.
We've been having enormous support and intervention from the Controller General of Prisons, Jafaru Ahmed, in the area of provision of drugs, medicaments to inmates, and of course, aftercare goods are being given to inmates.
The Comptroller also urged NGOs, corporate bodies and wealthy individuals to support the prison welfare and healthcare system as well as skill acquisition training for inmates in the state.
The effort that the Controller General of Prison is doing across the Federation in terms of upgrading the infrastructure of the prison, the government cannot do it alone. So the need for public-spirited individuals to come in and assist and complement the effort of government.
Over 1,000 inmates in the Kirikiri medium security prison have benefited from various medical outreach and skill acquisition programs by the federal government. In Lagos, Nusa Osula, NTA News.
The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, has rearranged former Federal High Court Judge Rita Ofili Ajumogobia and a learned senior advocate of Nigeria, Godwin Obla, at the Federal High Court, Lagos. They were arraigned before Justice Mohammed Aikawa. Vera Chimuba has details.
Both Justice Rita Ofili Ajumogobia and Godwin Obla were arraigned on 18-count charge of money laundering. Obla had been absent from court, following which the court ordered an issuance of summons for him to appear in court. When the charge was read and plea taken, they pleaded not guilty. Defense counsel Ferdinand Obi urged the court to grant Obla liberal bail terms in view of his status as a learned senior advocate and member of International Bar Association. Justice Mohammed Aikawa granted him bail in the sum of 10 million naira with one surety in like sum. The surety must be a director on grade level 16 in the Federal or Lagos State Civil Service with verifiable means of income. He must also own property in Lagos, while his international passport is to be deposited with the Chief Registrar of the court. The bail conditions are to be met within 10 days. Meanwhile, the defense counsel, Robert Clark, drew the attention of the court to a pending preliminary objection filed by the defense, challenging the competence of the court to hear the suit already decided by a court of competent jurisdiction, presided over by Justice Hakeem Oshodi of Ikeja High Court. In a quick reaction, the prosecution counsel, Rotimi Oyedepo, raised objection, arguing that the application is misconstrued. He told the court that Justice Rita Ofili Ajumogobia is no longer a judicial officer as at 17 November 2018, based on National Judicial Council recommendation, and the president approved her dismissal. He further told the court that he has a certified true copy to that effect. The defense counsel, Robert Clark, argued that in a criminal trial, issues relating to preliminary injunction take precedence over any other issue and urged the court to follow same. Justice Mohammed Aikawa has fixed 23rd of May for hearing of the preliminary objection. In Lagos, Viera Chumuba, NTA News.
That's our contribution from Lagos. It's back to Ogwa in Abuja for more on Nationwide.
Thank you, Ruth. And still on the judiciary, the Presidential Election Petition Tribunal is now to hear a formal application on whether President of the Court of Appeal, Justice Zainab Okachua, should recuse herself of the chairmanship of the tribunal. The motion is to be taken on Wednesday, 22nd of May. Well, this is part of the outcome of the day's sitting at the Court of Appeal. Judiciary correspondent Femi Okewo has details.
The issue of whether the President of the Court of Appeal, Justice Zainab Okachua, should recuse herself from the headship of the panel of the Presidential Election Petition Tribunal is now to be treated formally. It was once an issue which was treated in the public domain and a letter to that effect written by the PDP. Now the court is to hear a formal application to that effect. The day's sitting had started with lead counsel to the People's Democratic Party, Dr. Levi Uzoku SAN, requesting for an audience in chambers between chairman of the panel, Justice Zainab Okachua, and the four other justices, along with two counsel each representing President Muhammadu Buhari, the All Progressives Congress, and INEC. It was on return from the closed-door meeting that chairman of the Presidential Election Petition Tribunal announced that the meeting was related to a letter which the PDP chairman, Uche Secondus, had written for her to stand down as the chairman of the tribunal. She said counsel to the petitioners was at liberty to move the motion in open court so it could form part of the records of proceedings. All the parties to the petition were not opposed to the application being moved in court. The motion will now be heard on the 22nd. In Abuja, Femi Okeowo, NTA News.
And moving on, Nigeria is currently the world's largest producer of cassava, but the huge cassava production in the country may be wasted if not effectively processed and utilized. And this is why the federal government is establishing a cassava processing plant in the Niger Delta region to add value to agricultural commodities, enhance the capacity of farmers, and sustain food security. Joseph Johnson tells us more.
The traditional way of processing cassava is unhygienic, labor-intensive and time-consuming, with a resulting low production output and, of course, a lot of wastages. All these necessitate the need for modern cassava processing cottage industries in the Niger Delta states, and Afuda community in Akwa Ibom is a beneficiary, having been chosen to host one of the facilities being put in place by the federal government. Already, Regina Edet and her counterparts are putting it into effective use. She says the plant has spurred her to cultivate more cassava and that she is ready to engage more hands for increased income.
I'm so happy now because we have been suffering for many years. But for now, government are giving us very good thing.
The people of Afuda community in Mbo local government area are indeed pleased to have this cassava processing plant here. In fact, the mood here is that of celebration and satisfaction. For them, this project will indeed economically change their livelihoods for the better.
I think it will less the trouble and the suffering of our people.
And there are no more violent and all people will be engaged.
The intention is to occupy the people, create occupation for them, and also create a linkage in terms of sector productivity.
Like Regina, it is believed that the gesture will indirectly generate employment for thousands of people in and around the host community who are into other cassava value chain businesses through backward linkages. Meanwhile, the minister also inaugurated 7 units staff quarters at Community Secondary School, Ikoruko, a Senodem local government area. In Cross River State, Osan inaugurated the rehabilitation of Atimbo Akbabuye Road, sections 1 and 2, and health center at Old Asiga Town, Yakol local government area. Joseph Johnson, NTA News.
And staying in the Niger Delta, the Presidential Amnesty Program has helped to keep the Niger Delta relatively peaceful. Participants at the Amnesty Refresher course on entrepreneurship in Yanagua, Bayelsa State say continued funding for training and provision of starter packs will sustain the peace. Aya Prezi reports that 300 persons benefited from the course.
The Presidential Amnesty Program, conceived and implemented by the Yar'Adua administration in 2009 to address the concerns of Niger Delta agitators and restore peace in the region. Continuation of the program by subsequent governments has apparently sustained the relative peace over the years. Skills development and other forms of trainings have been carried out within and outside the country. Beneficiaries appreciate government for the trainings. They are, however, appealing for early empowerment to spare them the stress of continuous waiting.
Previously, people were trained, and the empowerment packages were not given.
To move poor people out of poverty, this is the program.
Facilitator of the training program advised beneficiaries not to sell the starter packs.
1 week, 2 weeks is enough for the paperwork. As we finish the paperwork, the money for the empowerment should be ready.
The refresher course on entrepreneurship in Bayelsa State has been completed and certificates presented in Yanagua. Aya Prezi, NTA News.
And it's time for our first break on Nationwide. We'll be back shortly. Stay with us.
The clock is ticking. It's the signal for the inauguration of the 16th President of Nigeria and 5th President in the 4th Nigerian Republic.
Nigerians are set to mark the beginning of the second term of Muhammadu Buhari as President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. The first term saw the most massive critical infrastructural development, agricultural revolution, war against corruption, tackling insecurity, and unprecedented social investment programs. Our opportunity to keep moving our country on the path to a prosperous future. It's the next level for the Nigerian people. This is our time as Nigerians. Come, let us celebrate the next level with Muhammadu Buhari, President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, Federal Republic of Nigeria. Date, Wednesday, 29th May 2019. Venue, Eagle Square, Abuja. Time, 8 a.m. prompt. Roll out the drums. Come, let's celebrate.
Announcer Boss Gida Mustafa, Secretary to Government of the Federation and Chairman 2019 Presidential Inauguration Committee.
The Presidential Implementation Committee on Financial Autonomy of the State Legislature and State Judiciary, under the chairmanship of Mr. Abubakar Malami, the Honorable Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice, is holding a two-day retreat on strategies and modalities for the implementation of financial autonomy of the State Legislature and State Judiciary in accordance with the fourth alteration of the 1999 Constitution as amended. Date, Thursday 16th and Friday 17th May 2019. Venue, Congress Hall, Transcorp Hilton Hotel, Abuja. Time 9 a.m. prompt. Special guest of honor and keynote speaker, His Lordship, Honorable Justice Ibrahim Tanko Muhammad, Acting Chief Justice of Nigeria. The following stakeholders are invited: His Excellency Right Honorable Yakubu Dogara, Speaker; His Excellency Senator Ike Ekweremadu, Deputy President of the Senate; Their Excellencies Governors of States, Civil Society Organization, amongst others. Senator Dr. Ita Enang, Secretary, Presidential Implementation Committee. Announcer.
The management of the Nigeria Television Authority NTA, Federal Radio Corporation of Nigeria FRCN, and Voice of Nigeria cordially invites the general public to the 14th edition of the annual Ramadan lecture, which will inshallah hold on Saturday, 18th May 2019. The topic is Tolerance in Islam, to be delivered by Sheikh Muhammad Nuruddin Lemu, Director of Research and Training, Dawah Institute of Nigeria Islamic Education Trust, Mina, Niger State. The venue for the event is Lumana Multipurpose Hall, River Road, Jabi Road East, Ngorimi Jari, Kaduna by 9 a.m. Under the distinguished chairmanship of Lamido of Adamawa, His Royal Highness Muhammad Berkindo Aliyu Mustafa. The chief host is His Excellency Malam Nasr Ahmed El-Rufai, the Executive Governor of Kaduna State. Royal Father of the Day is His Royal Highness Alhaji Dr. Show Idris, CFR, Emir of Zazzau. The host Malam Yakubin Muhammad, Director General of Nigeria Television Authority, Malam Mansur Liman, Director General of Federal Radio Corporation of Nigeria, and Dr. Osita Okechukwu, Director General of Voice of Nigeria. Announcer Organizing Committee, you are welcome.
NTA Television College Jos announces admissions into 2-year diploma programs in film and television production, television engineering, and broadcast journalism. The sale of forms will commence on the 13th of May and run through 30th July 2019. Admission forms can be obtained from all marketing offices, NTA state capital stations, zonal centers, or at the office of the academic secretary, NTA Television College, Rayfield, Jos.
On payment of a non-refundable fee of 7,500 naira in bank draft in favor of NTA TV College. Applicants can also obtain the forms through the NTA TV College portal at www.ntatvc.edu.nj.
Applicants are required to possess 5 credits in GCE or SSCE in relevant areas of study in not more than 2 sittings, including English and mathematics. All properly completed forms attached with photocopies of credentials must be submitted on or before 30th July 2019. For further inquiries, please visit our website at ntatvc.com or call 0803 3144 383.
NTA TV College, training you to be the best you want to be.
Thank you for staying tuned. President Muhammadu Buhari accepted the invitation of King Salman bin Abdulaziz, ruler of Saudi Arabia and custodian of the 2 holy mosques, to perform the Umrah, the Lesser Hajj, in the kingdom. A statement signed by Senior Special Assistant to the President on Media and Publicity, Garba Shehu, indicates that the President, accompanied by close personal aides, will embark on the journey on Thursday, 16th May. He is expected back in the country on Tuesday, 21st May. And President Muhammadu Buhari has renewed his appeal to the incoming members of the 9th National Assembly to subordinate all personal interests and ambitions to what he called the imperative of working for the common good of Nigerians. Well, this was while hosting the leadership of the Senate and House of Representatives to the breaking of Ramadan fast. State House correspondent Adamu Sambo has details.
Honoring the presidential invitation for the breaking of the Ramadan fast were Senate President Bukola Saraki, Speaker Yakubu Dogara, and all other presiding as well as principal officers of both chambers of the National Assembly. It was therefore an opportunity for President Muhammadu Buhari to not only congratulate the newly elected and re-elected lawmakers, but remind them of the great burden and responsibility placed on them by their constituents.
Your principal task is to cooperate with the executive so that together we can fashion policies that will lift our people out of poverty and illiteracy.
The relations between the executive and the legislature, he maintained, were not the best in the 8th National Assembly.
I sincerely hope each one of us will do his uttermost to ensure there is a better working relationship between these 2 arms of government in the 9th Assembly so that we can serve the people better. My doors are open to all of you who have genuine concerns or advice to improve the quality of governance and service delivery to our people.
Senate President Bukola Saraki had earlier thanked the president for his magnanimity, which he described as reassuring.
The presence of everybody here is to show that when it comes to the coming together of leadership, coming together of building a nation, we must all come together for that purpose. As we've said many a times, the challenges of the country, whether it's poverty, whether it's security, whatever it is, does not know political ideology. It affects all Nigerians. So as leaders, we must always be together to find those solutions at all times.
During the event, special prayers were offered to Allah for guidance and protection of the nation's leaders as they strive to implement policies and programs towards achieving peace, unity, stability, and sustainable development of the country. From the State House, Adamu Sambo, NTA News.
For Nigeria to move to the next level of sustainable growth and development, the need to embrace the principles of Islamic law in governance has been stressed. Well, this was the thrust of the annual Ramadan lecture of the Nigerian Television Authority, Ilorin. Abdullahi Elewetu has the details.
Speaking on the topic, achieving enduring democracy and good governance, Islamic parameters, Professor Yusuf Larry Badmos explained that Islam as a religion has provided guidelines for democracy and good governance, adding that Islam and politics cannot be separated from one another. He highlighted some of the Islamic principles capable of promoting enduring democracy and good governance, to include justice, equity, fairness, and rule of law, among others.
Democracy goes along with the sense of fairness, sense of equity, and it categorically condemns corruption.
Chairman at the event, Sheikh Mukaddam Said Akumaju, enjoined Nigerians to eschew corruption in all their dealings, saying corruption is the bane of the Nigerian problem.
The adoption of Islamic policy, it will be very easy for our leaders to cut down their excesses.
If we can use Islamic parameters to add to what we call democracy now, we will all enjoy it.
Abdullahi Elewetu, NTA News.
The Buhari Media Organization, BMO, says President Muhammadu Buhari has not abandoned Leah Sharibu and will not relent in his efforts to ensure that she and others in captivity regain their freedom. The group, in a statement, described as disheartening that some people are giving the impression that the president was not concerned that Leah remains in captivity 420 days after her schoolmates were released by their captors. BMO urged Nigerians and concerned members of the international community to exercise a little more patience and allow the Buhari administration to complete what it has been working on since the Dapchi abduction. And the ASO television and ultra-modern radio studio has been inaugurated in Abuja by the Minister of Information and Culture, Lai Mohammed. Shuaibu Oneze Yakubu reports that the inauguration signals the commencement of television broadcasting at the station.
19th May 1999, ASO radio station was established. 20 years after, the sister television station has now been inaugurated. Minister of Information and Culture, Lai Mohammed, challenged journalists to shun fake news and hate speeches in their reportage and provide quality content that will promote unity among Nigerians.
This platform should endeavor to develop contents that will unite Nigeria.
FCT Minister Muhammad Musa Bello emphasized that the inauguration of the ASO TV is a manifestation of the administration's drive at completing all ongoing projects in the territory.
The journey for television broadcasting began much earlier, in the year 2004-2005, when the license was obtained with a target of commencing broadcast in 2007. The FCT administration has already decided to grant you full financial autonomy with the needed financial grant that will put you on your feet.
Although we are ready to commence full transmission and increase gradually, we cannot do so until some of the tools of the job like cameras, teleprompters, flyaway kits, vehicles, etc. are supplied.
Your belief in us, sir, gives us the courage and hope to make the station viable, dynamic, and one of the best amongst our peers in the country.
FCT Minister and Minister of Information and Culture inspected facilities at the ASO television and also had a live interview session at the newly inaugurated ASO radio studio. Shuaibu Oneze Yakubu, NTA News.
And it was the turn of information and communications officers in federal ministries, departments and agencies to benefit from the capacity building of Bureau for Public Service Reforms aimed at making government business efficient and effective. Francis Fom reports from the two-day training for the communicators.
These are personnel responsible for communications in MDAs. Their work involves informing the public and other organizations of activities of the MDAs they represent. The fact that communications modes and strategies have continued to evolve makes the Bureau for Public Service Reforms to organize this training to keep them abreast of modern trends. This is to enable them communicate government policies and programs graphically, using modern information technology and other social media.
This training program is particularly important and coming at a time when the nation is poised at the critical juncture of a holistic transformation process that is heralding the entrenchment of good and purposeful governance in our country.
I therefore urge you all, as information officers, to seize this opportunity to build their capacities needed to manage information as well as government policies and reform programs in a positive perception. This is because it is our duties and responsibilities to be transparent, accountable, and be good ambassadors of government at all levels, reaching out with excellent service delivery.
Government communication is expected to improve after the two-day workshop. In Abuja, Frank Sisform, NTA News.
Let's now join Asmao in Sokoto for major stories from that zone.
Thank you, Vivian. Good afternoon and welcome to Sokoto. 27 inmates serving various jail terms at the Birnin Kebbi Medium Prison have regained their freedom. Hassan Abubakar Koko reports that the wife of the Kebbi State Governor, Dr. Zainab Bagudu, secured their release after the payment of their fines. The report.
A total number of 27 inmates serving different jail terms in Birnin Kebbi New Prison have been released following the settlement of their fines by the wife of the state governor, Dr. Zainab Atiku Bagudu.
This ample opportunity to stay in their respective localities and concentrate on the little trading or the skills or skill acquisition they acquire here.
This is the second time Dr. Zainab Atiku Bagudu is settling the fines of inmates. 42 inmates regained their freedom in March 2019.
Those people that have been released today are those people that cannot afford to pay those compensations and fines that were awarded to them in the prison and the courts.
Some of the inmates who spoke to NTA News thanked Dr. Zainab Atiku Bagudu for the kind gesture and promised to engage themselves in the skill acquisition programs acquired during their stay in the prison. Similarly, each inmate was given the sum of 5,000 naira for transportation. In Birnin Kebbi, Hassan Abubakar Koko, NTA.
As temperatures in Sokoto go high, Muslims observing fast are seeking for ways to get some relief from the heat. Sheikh Muhammad Dati tells us more.
The temperature in Sokoto is high during the months of April and May every year, reaching up to 45 degrees Celsius. Unfortunately, this year, Ramadan fast falls within the period, thereby becoming more critical and complex for people observing fast. Due to epileptic power supply and low purchasing power of the residents are out of their homes and business places in search of a cooler and more friendly environment.
This time around now where I'm fasting day now, everybody like the place where they cool to come and rest. Not have AC. It is too much. I don't understand me. That's how I've been here.
No grey area. The grey area we have car used to park there, no place for you to hide, nowhere to sit.
Some people also opt for splashing frozen water on their body to get some relief. Medical experts advise people on how to manage the heat.
Nobody should use very cold water or very hot water. The water that comes out from the tap is usually okay, somewhat warm. So they can use that water to pour on their body just to keep warm. And I wouldn't advise that the first thing you drink to break your fast to be cold water. There are other things you can drink.
As at the time of filing this report, most of the streets in the metropolis were deserted due to the heat. In Sokoto, Sheikh Muhammad Dati, NTA News.
1 year after evacuation from Borno to Sokoto, orphans who lost their parents to insurgency say they are well taken care of. They made their feelings known when a delegation from Borno State visited the school, where the orphans are being accommodated by a philanthropist. Elhata Abdullahi reports.
It was a year ago that philanthropist from Sokoto State, Omar Nkobo AA, sought the approval of Borno State government to cater for 130 orphans, including 20 from Yobe State. While in Sokoto, they have been enrolled in Islamic and Western education at UK Jarma Academy, Sokoto. intervention has brought succor to the children who lost their parents to the insurgents. In Sokoto, Dalhatu Abdullahi, NTA News.
And that's our package from Sokoto. The news will continue with Vivian in Abuja. Good afternoon.
Thank you, Asmau. Well, for importation and export of goods and services, ports are highly important in the economic growth of any nation. Presently, seaports suffer due to congestion and pressure because they are seen as the most dependable mode of international trade. Guests on Good Morning Nigeria explore the various advantages of having inland ports and what it means for the development of the country. Abdul Karim Mohammed Zurmi has the report.
The Kaduna Inland Port has brought hope to the import-export business, making movement of goods and services a lot less stressful, thereby easing the burden off Nigeria's congested seaports. Experts say it promises to increase job opportunities, generate revenue, and offer a safer alternative to transportation of goods brought into the country. It also means the safety of those who are required to safeguard goods while in transit will increase exponentially.
Now, the packaging factories are also setting up around Kaduna. Hopefully, with the increasing activity of these hubs, intermodal activity and infrastructure being connecting to it to increase its functions. Many of the Almajiris that are becoming bandits will now become skilled workers, will become stevedores. They will work in a professional setting, earn more money than banditry, where their life is short and brutal.
Guests believe support from railway is expected to help link communities while ensuring flexible drop-offs and pickups. In addition, containers will be tracked electronically to keep tabs and make sure all containers arrive at their destination.
Every container will be tracked, so there is no need for custom to be on the train or escort or anything. No, electronically, we are going to track this cargo from the time it's on the port of loading up to the time it reached Kaduna, so we'll be able to monitor that.
They were of the opinion that inland ports operations will add value to the national economy and that of key states in the country and facilitate solid material exports from Nigeria to the rest of the globe. In Abuja, Abdul Karim Mohammed Zurmi, NTA News.
It has been estimated that Nigeria might, in the next 5 years, suffer from the shortage of donkeys, which serve as key to local agricultural activities, among other traditional economic purposes. Well, this was identified by the House of Representatives Committee on Agriculture during a public hearing on a bill for an act to prohibit the killings and exploitation of donkeys. National Assembly correspondent Abdullahi Aminu reports.
Domestic donkey is a member of the horse family, even beyond African countries like Nigeria. Their operation is been for agricultural activities and transportation of goods by the rural populace, among other local advantages. However, the growing concern by stakeholders brought about the need of a legislation against the killing and exploitation of the animal to some countries, including China, where their skin is used for traditional medicine.
Studies have shown that the requirement for donkey skin in China is about 4 million, but they can only access about 1 million in the whole of Africa.
We felt that if something drastic is not done, we may end up losing the population of our donkeys in Nigeria.
Analysis was made on the history, status, ecological and economic values of the donkeys, which the world is now trying to preserve.
If the government is going to sensitize the Nigerians and explain to them the economic value chain, this morbid fear of extinction will be over.
And we're also calling on governments and local authorities to join efforts to support the affected communities, protecting them from the illegal trade and preventing the decimation of donkeys through the legal trade.
The bill has a section that provides penalty of 10 years imprisonment for killing and eating donkey in Nigeria, among other sanctions. From the National Assembly, Abdullahi Aminu, NTA News.
And another break beckons. Nationwide returns shortly.
When you think about hospitality and affordable luxury away from home, then you talk about Sharon Ultimate Hotels, a secured and serene environment that offers kingly services such as 24-hour room service, impeccable security with CCTV surveillance, parking lots, free Wi-Fi internet service, free complimentary breakfast, restaurants that offers continental and local dishes, well-equipped fitness center with instructors, swimming pool, 350 capacity multipurpose hall, laundry service, pastry corner, mini mart, and our suites are breathtaking. For reservation, locate us at plot 1710, Tafawa Balewa Way, Area 3, Garikia, Abuja. Sharon Ultimate Hotels, the ultimate place.
They are there at the crack of dawn. They are there busy preparing while we rise for our day. They are there silently, guarding, waiting, listening, and watching. They are there ready in the sky above and the waters below, in the blistering heat of the day, in the dead of night, willing, indefatigable, determined in the defense of the sovereignty of our country. They are our first line of defense and our last. They who have paid the ultimate price in defending us. They are fathers and uncles. They are mothers and sisters and girlfriends and boyfriends. They are brothers and cousins and best friends and neighbors. They are classmates, colleagues, and citizens of this nation. They are our defenders and deserve our respect, our prayers, our thoughts. Nigeria, please support our armed forces.
Thank you for staying tuned. On a sad note, 3 Nigerian soldiers who had fallen into mines planted by Boko Haram insurgents have been laid to rest at the Mai Malari Military Cemetery in Maiduguri. Defense correspondent Ismail Musa reports that Lieutenant Colonel Ibrahim Yusuf Aminu, Corporal Jibrin Hamidu, and Lance Corporal Tijani Mohammed's burial were led by the Chief of Army Staff.
The Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Tuku Buratai, leading officers and soldiers while on operational visit to the northeast. Unlike his usual parade in the zone infested with Boko Haram, today the army is leading the bodies of 3 of its gallant troops who paid the supreme sacrifice to their graves. Salute. The late officer and 2 soldiers were killed when their combat vehicles ran into mines.
This is a situation that will require us to be vigilant at all times. Let me pay my condolences to the families of the late Lieutenant Colonel Ibrahim Yusuf Aminu, Corporal Jibrin Hamidu, and Lance Corporal Tijani Mohammed.
The Nigerian Army has developed and tested several IED detecting devices to guide against death, such as the ones being buried. But then, mine-related incidents are among the leading causes of death in the ongoing counter-insurgency operations. From Maiduguri, Borno State, Ismail Musa, NTA News.
And now a quick check at weather prospects for Thursday. And this is where we draw the curtain on Nationwide. I am Ogwa Vivian Unyidibia. Thank you for watching.